Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of Popcorn Problems. My name is Elon Pressman, and I'm here with my very good friend and fellow co host.
Nicholas DePasco. Every week, we'll make sure you're caught up with the biggest news and movies in Hollywood.
This week, we're reviewing Avatar Fire and Ash, one of last week's biggest new releases. But before we get to that, what's poppin'? Where we run through the biggest movie stories this week. What's up, guys? It is Christmas. Well, when this is going to be releasing is going to be Christmas Eve, so if you celebrate, Merry Christmas. Um, Nick, what are you going to be doing to celebrate?
I'm just gonna be with family. We're just gonna chill. Nothing too crazy, honestly.
Nice, nice, nice.
How about you? What are you
I
gonna be doing
don't,
for Christmas?
I don't really celebrate Christmas, so me
Oh,
and my
right.
girlfriend, yeah, so nothing with family, but me and my
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend, we're planning on getting Chinese food,
Cute.
and building a gingerbread house, and
Mm.
then we have tickets to go see Marty Supreme, like at night.
Oh, bet. Bro,
Yeah,
finishing it off with Marty
yeah,
Supreme.
yeah,
Generational.
I was looking forward to like staying up all night watching the new Stranger Things season.
Oh
But it
yeah.
turns out that drops on Christmas Day, not Christmas Eve. For some reason, I thought it was gonna be
Mm.
Christmas Eve. Yeah. Um. So that won't be happening on Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day, I'm gonna be binging that shit all day, all night. I'm really excited.
Bet.
Um. Anyway, let's get into the box office for the week. And number one, I'm sure not surprising anyone, is Avatar: Fire and Ash. Interestingly enough, it opened at 88 million domestically, 345 global, on a budget of $400 million plus. The threequel lands below The Way of Water's 134 million domestic, but above the original 77 million. I'm not surprised, just because the time between the original and the second one was a lot
Mm-hmm.
more, significantly
Yeah.
more than
Mm-hmm.
the this one. So there's just a much more interesting factor with that one, which is why I'm kind of concerned for this movie's box office run. But I guess we'll have to see how it kind of goes over January.
Yeah. I. If you would ask me, I don't think this one's gonna cross a billion. We'll
I
talk about it
think,
more
yeah,
later
I think
on.
it's probably going to get close, but I don't know if it'll
It's gonna get
cross.
close. I would say like 700, 800, maybe even 900. But I don't think it's crossing that billion mark.
Yeah, and I think for them to make four and five, or at least four in this case, it
Hmm.
definitely needs to hit at least a billion for that even to be a possibility. So we'll see.
Yeah, and also I've heard reports that James Cameron wants to wait like 4 years for the next one,
Yeah, I
which
think if it happens, he probably won't even direct it. I think he would probably like mentor a new director for that.
you think so? I mean, I saw a tweet from Pop Crave or the Twitter account with the Miles Morales Spider-Man mask.
Hmm.
Yeah, they said like it was like a bulletin list of like information from Avatar 4, and it was like James Cameron will direct. It'll be 4 years. Some other information that I don't remember right now, but something like that. So I don't mind that. I don't mind waiting 4 years. I think that initial, how long was it? Like from 12 to 12 years, 10 years,
It was
13 years,
2029. Sorry, 2009 to 2022. So what is that? 13?
something. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think that was good. I it really helped the mystique of the second film, and
Yeah,
we need some good amount of time. I think it's been like 3 years since the last one, right?
yeah, it has. It's been
2022.
three
Yeah, it
years.
has exactly.
Avatar 4 is slated for December 2029. Disney does have the release dates locked down, but I guess they're not
Okay.
officially greenlit. And there is for Avatar 5 also has a release date, and that's in December 2031, which is pretty
Mm.
funny. Anyway, and number two this week was the movie David, which opened at 22 million domestic on a 60.9 million dollar budget. And Angel Studios' animated biblical musical is their biggest opening ever, topping Sound of Freedom from 2023, and it's the highest grossing faith-based animated debut in history. At
Interesting.
number three was The Housemaid, which opened at $19 million domestic on a $35 million budget. And at number four was the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. on a 16 million domestic opening on a $64 million budget. The only other interesting thing I want to point out is that Marty Supreme what made it into the top 10. It opened at number 8. It opened in limited release this weekend on 6 screens. I believe in New York, LA, and I think maybe one in Las Vegas for my what I remember. It opened
Mhm.
with $875,000 from those 6 screens.
Insane.
Um, it is gonna go wide this Christmas, and it is the best per theater average ever for A24, and the industry's highest since La La Land, um, with screenings being sold out pretty much across everywhere, which is really cool. Overall, this weekend gave us a total of 20.4% higher than this weekend last year, and brought Disney towards $6 billion globally for 2025, which is the best post COVID annual haul for any Hollywood studio. This year in general sits at 8.38 billion, which is 1.3% ahead of 2024. Interestingly enough, 22.4% this time in 2019, before COVID. So, what do you think about that, Nick?
Um, I'm incredibly happy. I feel like this is a good sign for theaters, especially their valuability. And I know you have a list of the movie news that we will talk about. So I don't know and I haven't seen that list yet, unfortunately. So
Mhm.
I don't know if we'll talk about this, but I saw some news about Warner Brothers and Netflix. Stop me if we
I
are
have
gonna talk about
nothing
it.
about that, so feel free to interject.
So you know what? I'll just leave it for later. But I'm just very happy about this development with theaters. I think that's a good sign for their profitability. And my screening for Marty Supreme for Sunday, was it? Yeah, Sunday night was packed. It was packed. It was
Mhm.
like almost pretty much sold out. So I'm also very happy to see that. I think it's a movie that deserves it without giving out too
Yeah,
much.
and
But
I think it's great for an independent film
yeah,
from an independent studio. I mean, it's honestly really, really cool. And I wonder
especially
if this is gonna lead to box office success once it
yeah,
ends up coming out. So we'll see.
for sure. Especially for A24 since like they haven't really had a big hit in a while. Like they've had good movies here and there, but like nothing
Since
like
everything
box
everywhere,
office crazy.
I feel like.
Yeah, pretty much. I honestly can't really remember A24 movies that have like had really
Yeah,
that much of an
unless you
impact.
count Civil War, which I think Civil War made money, but that wasn't really
Uh-huh.
well received.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very happy for A24 because regardless of I guess maybe The Brutalist, but that one wasn't that big.
That didn't make much money.
Uh
Yeah, so number
yeah,
one for A24 is Everything Everywhere, and then number two was Civil War. So, guess that's the only
I
one that
see, I
came
see.
close.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because regardless of whatever hits or misses they might have, I still believe in like what the company means, and I hope it does well. Yeah, so, very happy about Marty Supreme on all fronts.
Yeah. All right, so that's all for the box office for this week. The next thing I want to talk about quickly is we got some numbers on how Wake Up Dead Man did last week. It brought
Mm.
in $5.6 million domestic. Sorry, I don't know why I said dollars. It's not dollars. It's views. 5.6 million domestic views. And its opening weekend. Unfortunately, that's only around half of what Glass Onion did, which was 10.7 million in its opening weekend. It's still the most streamed movie across all platforms in the US that week, so it does have that.
Cool.
Yeah. The I guess next and most interesting piece of film news for this week is the Oscar shortlists came out. I mentioned last week that they were going to be dropping last Tuesday, and they did. So I kind of just want to go over them. 12 categories got shortlisted. This included cinematography, original score, visual effects, and other craft related categories. This reduces like hundreds of submitted entries and possible films that could be nominated to around 10 to 20 per category. Um, the big categories like Best Picture, Director, and the acting categories, those don't have shortlists. They don't really give us any idea of who's going to get nominated until the official announcements in January. Sinners and Wicked for Good both got seven mentions each. Two of those mentions for both films were original song nomination mentions, so they both are being considered to have two films for Best Original Song. Frankenstein appeared in six categories, and One Battle After Another appeared in five. This is the first year that best casting is going to be at all in the Oscars. So it's going to be the first year that a short list was made for the best casting category. And this is the first year that they utilize cinematography for the short list. Normally, cinematography just gets announced with the other bigger categories in January, but this year we got a short list for cinematography. Official voting is going to take place between January 12th and 16th. We're going to hear the announcements of who's actually nominated on January 22nd. So that's actually a month from today. And then the Oscars are going to be hosted by Conan O'Brien on March 15th next year on ABC.
Yeah,
What do
love
you think
Conan.
about that?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I don't. It's kind of expected. Everything in the shortlist is pretty much expected from what we saw last year. There's nothing too crazy. I guess maybe Wicked.
Yeah,
I
Wicked got a
can.
lot of nominations, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I don't remember if the first Wicked got a lot of nominations. Do you
It
remember that?
did.
Would you
It
know?
got a lot
It
of
did.
craft nominations, and,
Okay, that makes
I mean,
sense.
it got a lot of nominations in general, but it only
Uh huh.
won in craft categories.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting. Yeah, no. I'm excited to see the actual nominations. I think the shortlist up to this point are pretty much from what I expected. Nothing surprising. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is
it's
there
always interesting to see how they're gonna what they actually
what they're
keep and
looking at
what
though?
obviously what gets removed.
Yeah.
Other than the Oscar kind of, an Oscar shortlists,
Hmm.
the only kind of pieces of news is two. We have two things I'm going to mention. One from Paramount and one from Sony, and then Nick, you're going to talk about your Warner Bros. Thing.
Yeah.
Paramount adds Rupert Grint, Daisy Ridley, Sam Claflin, and Charlie Murphy to Johnny Depp's cast in Ebenezer: A Christmas Carol. I believe that's directed by Ty West, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Which is funny because there's another Christmas Carol movie being directed
yeah,
by Robert Eggers. No.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 with
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
Oh, okay, okay. Which is probably they're probably gonna come out at the same around the same time too. So
That's funny.
we'll see what happens. I think that's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting when twin movies come out like that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen much, but it does happen sometimes, and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then the Sony thing is that they got Paul King, which is the director of movies such as Wonka and Paddington 1 and 2,
Hmm.
to direct a feature film adaptation of the collectible toy phenomenon, Labubu. So,
Oh God, that was the word. I was bracing for impact at whatever because I was bracing for impact at whatever toy you were gonna say, and that was the worst possible option. I was thinking like Funko, like
yeah, no,
fucking.
yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
honestly shocked that they got Paul King because he's a director I really enjoy. I think he has such a sweet touch to
yeah,
everything he directs.
uh-huh,
So
for sure.
I just Labubu, really, really,
You know what? I've seen a lot of like the original art, like the 2D art from the Japanese illustrator whose name I don't know. Um, of like the Lububu monster of the monsters. That's what they're called, I guess. And some
hmm
of it can be kind of like well, nice and cute, and I guess there was one that he posted like recently that kind of like really popped off. It was like a Lububu in like a destroyed like kingdom, and they were looking all sad and whatever. Um,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was like in his style, and it was cute still. So I think if Paul King approaches it with with that same sort of like mentality, which I'm sure he will, of like the cute art style of the way that it's drawn, then it could be interesting. I don't know. I just think I just can't help but be completely left ajar from the
Yeah.
labubuness of it all.
Yeah. I'm glad you didn't know what I was gonna say, so I got your raw reaction. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it for movie news. Let's move into what we watched. I'm gonna start this week.
Sure.
I was able to check out the new SpongeBob movie that was released in theaters. Before I talk about that, there was a short that played in front of
Oh, I'm so
SpongeBob,
jealous.
which was the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Mutant Mayhem, um, like little short cartoon. It was like 8 minutes or whatever, and it was just
Uh-huh.
like an anti. It was pretty much an anti-AI like PSA. It
Yeah.
was great. It was such a fun watch. And
Dude, I'm so
I'm
jealous.
definitely
I've been
gonna
wanting to
rewatch
watch
it
that.
when it gets released publicly. And I'm
Uh-huh.
low-key really excited for the sequel with Shredder. That's gonna be such an awesome movie. I'm so excited.
For sure. Uh-huh.
With that being said, the SpongeBob movie was just fine. It's exactly what you can expect from modern SpongeBob. There were some funny moments, but overall, it was just brain damage numbing content, kinda. I really don't like the new animation style, the 3D that they've had ever
Yeah.
since the original creator passed away. I can't stand it. I think it looks gross. I think the idea of it is gross that you wait till the creator to die before you switch to the animation style. Um, but yeah, the movie was just fine. It was a simple enough story, and the I Spy song is really catchy. It's really good.
Um, yeah, so I'm a big SpongeBob fan, and I have not watched this movie, and I probably won't get around to watching it this month. Maybe next month, if I care enough. But yeah, from most reports that I've heard, and from your opinion, which I've just heard, I don't have high hopes for it. I honestly have more high hopes for the Teeny Mutant Ninja Turtle short before the film than the actual
Oh my
SpongeBob movie
God, it was
because
definitely the best part.
I'm sure. I'm so sure of it, dude. I like. Oh my god. I just love. I could talk about that. I literally wrote a college paper on why that movie is so great. But whatever. Um. But yeah, like I. I'm not too like disappointed about the new SpongeBob movie being not great because yeah, like everything since I'm not trying to be like a all only old SpongeBob which is good. But like everything since Steven Hillenburg has died has been kind of
Us?
just
Yeah.
like a soulless production of Nickelodeon without any real intent in heart and mind. They've had like good episodes or like good ideas. I've seen a few clips of like the Patrick show. It's like a spinoff that they have, and it
Yeah, that keeps the original style, right?
that yeah that keeps the 2D. But it's very weird. It's basically nonsensical from what I've seen, and it critiques a lot of media like in a very meta way. It feels like if Patrick was Deadpool, high key, like genuinely.
Interesting.
I don't know. Have you ever seen anything about that, like even a clip or anything like that?
I've seen like out of context clips, but nothing that would give me the idea that he's like Deadpool. So I don't know. Maybe I give that a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even seen a full episode. I've seen like maybe like 60-70% of it and like a
Hmm.
lot of clips on the internet. So I'm just like, yeah, that's the kind of vibe that I get. And that's had some interesting ideas in the SpongeBob universe, but really honestly, they keep pushing it to a point that like, listen, like as much as I love SpongeBob, it's not an infinite universe of possibilities. It's
Yeah.
like almost kind of like how I feel about Star Wars. Like Star Wars isn't an infinite universe of possibilities. Like how they keep stretching and pushing the idea. You can only do so much
Hmm.
with SpongeBob.
Right.
So I don't know why they keep trying to make like the biggest events. Recently, we saw. I feel like I'm talking a lot about SpongeBob. I don't know.
No, you're good.
Recently, I saw the original SpongeBob movie, the one from 2004.
Okay, that one's
Beautiful.
a that banger. Yeah.
That's
These
perfect. That's a
youngins
perfect
just
film.
don't. Yeah, these youngins don't have it like how we did.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And what got me kind of excited for this new film was the fact that like some old people who used to work on old SpongeBob while he was alive were gonna work on it, and press saying like press reviews saying that like, oh, it's the most akin to like that original movie that any SpongeBob movie has been since, and I'm like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
I
know
don't
if
think
I'd.
that's gonna be true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like the closest it's been, maybe, but I also haven't really seen modern SpongeBob in years,
Sure.
so I couldn't really tell you. But it was a fine enough time. Definitely not worth a visit to the theater.
Mm.
But if it's ever on Netflix or whatever, then I would put it on.
Yeah, like I said, I'll see if I get around to watching it at some point. I just want
Hmm.
that short to drop.
Dude, yeah, that shit was fire. What did you watch this week?
Oh yeah. I'll start off with I don't know if anyone has heard about this, as I really didn't hear about it, but um Adult Swim dropped an animated short feature film titled The Elephant,
Hmm.
which the whole concept of the elephant, the I yeah, whatever, is you got Ian Jordan's Cordy and Rebecca Sugar, creators of Steven Universe and OKKO. Pendleton Ward, creator of Adventure Time, and Patrick McHale, creator of Over the Garden Wall. Each of them were going to get a section of a three-part story, and they would have no communication with each other about what the story would do, but each of them would like animate it, create the story, and then eventually it would all connect into one big film called The Elephant, which is what they released. And I saw it, and it was pretty good. I mean, I'm a big fan of a lot of these animators, big fan of all those shows. So seeing all of them like creating their own idea with this one like film, it's not anything too long. It's like 26 minutes.
Hmm.
Um it was very interesting just like letting them, because a lot of these creators, the way that I've experienced them is in the constraints of their own stories. But I really like seeing animators especially, but just honestly in general, like most creatives, kind of just like making up bullshit and then like putting it on screen. And I don't want to, and I don't mean that in a bad way. This movie is very much like making up bullshit and putting it up on a screen, but in the best way possible, in a polished way, in a way that shows that they actually cared about the end product without knowing what the end product even was going to be. Um, my only complaint with it is that uh, so each artist has their own art style, obviously,
Hmm.
and the first one is made by Pendleton Ward, so it's like a thin line art Adventure Time style. It's like cute, it's very creative, it's very imaginative, it's very colorful. I love it. The second short is by I don't know why, whatever. The second short is made by Rebecca Sugar and Ian Jones Cordy. Um, and they also have a very unique style, very colorful as well. Very, I guess, comic book inspired, like cartoony in a way. And then
Hmm.
the third short was made by Patrick McHale, who has done Over the Garden Wall. He has a kind of a very grounded art style. Um, he varies a lot in his art style. Also, have you seen Over the Garden Wall, or at least like know what it looks like?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, that's fine. It's kind of creepy. It can be creepy sometimes, but in the third short, after getting these like two really interesting styles, they just make it anime.
Hmm.
And I like anime, obviously, or whatever, but it's a very bland sort of style of anime that is not interesting at all, and it feels like they just cheaped out on the ending, which really sucks. It really was kind of a whimper to what was otherwise a very interesting uh, film. But I recommend it. Especially if you're fans of animation or these people or what they've made. I still think it's a very interesting thing to see, as kind of like not just the actual end product, but also thinking about the creative process as to how this was made. They also released like today, as of filming, December 22nd, a documentary about how the creation of the film was made. So I also think
Oh,
that's a
that's
great
cool.
companion piece. Yeah. Um, I think people should watch it. Yeah. Did you watch
Nice.
anything else, Alon?
Yeah, so I also was able to watch the Sydney Sweeney Amanda Seyfried like thriller, The Housemaid.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
yeah, it was fine. I would say the highlight is Amanda Seyfried. It's I don't know if I'd say it's career best just because I haven't seen too many of her movies, but it's the best easily that I've seen. She
Hmm.
plays like unhinged and crazy very, very well. Sydney Sweeney is fine. She's not great, but she's not bad. Like I've seen some people criticizing her in the movie to be.
Hmm.
She's just like whatever. And I feel like I've said this about Christy, and pretty much all her roles. That's just kind of how I describe her as an actress. Um, the twist, the story overall was pretty interesting. There were some pretty cool twists that I liked a lot. I would say Brandon Sklenar, who plays like the male, uh, one of the male main characters in this movie. He's also fine. Um, I will say I really hope he's not Bruce Wayne. I've seen some people online fan casting him to be the DCU Batman, and
Hmm.
uh, he just would not. He's not it. He's not someone who just has the bravado and the vibe of Batman, unfortunately. So
He doesn't have the
hope
aura.
he doesn't have the aura at all. But yeah, he was fine in the movie too. Overall, it's a fine thriller. And it's definitely something that is a good enough watch on like an evening when it's on streaming down the line.
Hmm.
I also just quickly want to mention this comedy I watched on Netflix this week called Idiocracy. I
Oh,
watched it
okay.
because I have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of it without actually watching the movie. I know a lot of what happens in the film.
All right, well, pretty much I thought the concept was really cool, where they pretty much take like the most average guy ever and kind of like freeze his body in like an experiment for 1 year, but then
Hmm.
the experiment company or whatever goes out of business. So they kind of leave his body frozen until something gets him out 500 years in the future, and the whole universe, uh, the whole world has just become like dumb and numbed out. And I thought that was really interesting because I feel like that's kind of a future where we're headed currently as a civilization.
Hmm.
And for a movie that came out, I think in 2005, it was really, I think just the concept was really ahead of its time. And the way it showed how the world kind of gets dumbed out was really interesting. Like they had a shot where they were showed a character watching TV, and it's like in the middle of the screen was like a little square where it was like the movie or whatever the character was watching, and surrounding it was a bunch of like flashing like pop-ups and like whatever. It reminded me of like the Subway Surfers like on TikTok
Yeah, yeah.
video. And so I just thought it was very like smart with the way it presented that. That's kind of the end of the positives I can say about the movie. I think it was kind of stupid. Wasn't really interesting. I think it wasn't particularly well acted,
Hmm.
and um, it was just kind of dumb. It was just a dumb comedy, which really didn't utilize its cool concept to its full potential. So, yeah, I would say it's not really worth the watch. I wouldn't really recommend it unless you want to see how they could poorly use such a cool concept. Then I would give it a watch.
What do they do instead of like how do they poorly use it? Like what? Yeah. Why is it so dumb?
So pretty much, it's like now the our protagonist who was like I said super average back in his time. He's like now like the smart considered to be the smartest person of the world in the
Hmm.
world or whatever. And so he's just trying to like fix a bunch of problems, and it's just they don't do it like it just shows problems that like stupidity has caused. For example, I'm just going to use an example.
Sure.
They start watering plants with like this like Gatorade esque liquid because half of the world is owned by that company. Um, and so like they're all like just trained to like, oh, we use it because it has electrolytes and plants crave whatever their stupid thing is, and it's just it didn't do anything interesting with the concept. I was
Mm,
always wondering, like, oh, I hope they do something. I hope that this is going somewhere, but it never really is. And
I see.
um,
That's unfortunate.
yeah, it was just kind of a nothing burger of a movie.
Yeah. Damn, that sucks. Yeah, I've always been curious about watching that film because of the premise, but again, kind of like what you said, like whenever I saw clips, I'd be like, this is just kind of like stupid jokes, like nothing funny or interesting. I do know I don't know if he's the director, writer. Let me actually be more specific about this. Mike Judge, he's created a lot of things in the past. Yeah, he's the director, story, and a co screenplay writer. So, uh, it's really unfortunate that this turned out the way it has because Mike Judge has been known to make like a lot of good stuff, like King of the Hill, Beavis and Butthead, other movie, Office Space. Um, so yeah, this movie turning out the way it did, uh, kind of disappointing, but it is what it is, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you have anything else that you watched this week?
The only other thing I watched this week was Marty Supreme, so we'll keep that for next week.
Yeah. You were telling me that you were watching Welcome to Derry. I kind of wanted to get some of your
Oh
thoughts on
yeah, I
that.
did. I did do that.
Did you finish it?
The only reason I didn't mention it is because I haven't finished it. I'm literally on the last
Okay.
episode. Um, so I've seen pretty much from episode. Well, yeah, from because I started watching it. I watched the first episode like a month ago, maybe. Didn't care enough to finish it. Then I had some free time, so I started watching episode 2 through 7. What I think so far, before I've seen the actual ending, I think it's been really interesting. It's proper thrilling. It has made me care about these kids, and I think the most boring part is honestly like yeah, like the adult part, especially like the military aspect of it, isn't the most interesting. Other than a few moments here and there. I'm definitely more interested in like the lore of Pennywise and like what's
Hmm.
going on. I do know there's like a whole episode. I don't know if it's the last one or one that I already saw, um, of like pretty much like explaining Pennywise's whole backstory. Um, so yeah, I'm interested in seeing that. I think the effects and the style is really cool. You said a few like, and I obviously this. I don't know how much of the style is due to Andy Muschietti or the individual directors that work on each episode. Um, there definitely is a visual style like consistent throughout, but I would say there's definitely episodes where there's I guess more interesting like composition throughout or like lighting or whatever. And I just don't know how much of that is Andy Muschietti or the director of that episode. I don't know if
Yeah.
he has the sauce yet. I would have to still finish it. I don't know if he has the sauce yet to make Batman. I
Yeah.
just
I
don't know
would
if
say
he's the
he
right